Yeah, and I don't like this sort of campaigns. Honestly, I don't think it's good story wise, and that's why I play D&D. You know, because you need a character arc for that's defined by their characters, and that story, and for them to just die in the middle of it is not satisfying. I don't.
Well, it's life though, isn't it?
Yeah, we all die in the middle.
I mean,
you gotta take life pretty serious. I mean, no one gets out alive, right?
This is fictitious, though. It's all fantasy, though. Welcome to the Gaggle of Nerds podcast. Today is the first episode of D&D Advice, Part 1, about making good characters.
All right.
Yeah? Okay. What?
I wasn't expecting your intro.
Oh, no? What did you expect?
I didn't expect this to be a multiple-part series. Does that mean just you and I get to do part series? Can we kick everybody else out of the other parts?
Honestly, I wouldn't mind, no.
The new exclusive series with the two best characters on the podcast, obviously. The new series is Character Advice. We'll only have guest stars exclusively.
Yes,
if we have any.
Honestly, yeah.
Other nerds aren't allowed to join us. We're excluding Kale, Donovan, and Lorian today because they thought that the topic was uninteresting. So if you came for those guys, we're better. So
yes, right. Okay. Yeah. No. I think I know two people who would be good guest stars for something like this.
Who?
There's the one who runs the D&D club at the school.
The teacher?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because he's writing a book. I know that. And what was the other one? I know he DMs as well. Can't remember his name, but there's someone else. Anyway.
Where? Okay.
I don't remember.
Carrying on.
Okay, so on making good characters, right? Okay. What makes a good character?
Are we talking like NPCs or like player characters?
Okay, That's a
good starting point.
Yes, let's go more general, I guess.
So we're thinking like NPCs.
Yeah, let's go NPCs.
So like as a DM, what would make a more interesting NPC?
Yeah, what makes a good NPC?
I want to start off with how do you, Kevin, make an NPC?
All right.
Where do you go about making an NPC?
So this is what I think about when making an NPC.
And also, what kind of NPC? Are you talking like just random guy at the bar NPC? Or are you talking about an NPC you want the characters to connect to?
Okay, if it's a pre-planned NPC, and kind of in between,
okay, so just like an interactable NPC.
Let's not go just for interactable. Let's say, like for one session, they're there. They're for the whole thing.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
Okay.
Like not too deep where like you get a whole character backstory through it out and they're all through the adventure.
Mm-hmm.
But more like they're there for a session. You know?
Okay.
So yeah.
So I know you don't know this, but fun fact, I actually, because I'm working on a campaign of my own, I actually have a list of some random NPCs for my campaign for just different things. Mm-hmm. And I'll definitely tell you about those in a sec, but I do want to hear about how you, Kevin, go about making an NPC.
Okay, so the main way I make NPCs is, actually got a list, is the character's purpose in the story. That is the main thing in like, what is the purpose they serve within the story and how they can be used. Some unique quirk or personality trait to make them unique in some way, impressionable, I guess. Maybe an archetype I could base something off. The character goal, like what they want and why would they want to help or go against the players, and the relationship with other characters or other character NPCs.
Okay.
That's how I think at first in creating NPC.
Okay, so thinking of some of your personally like campaigns that you've made, what are some most memorable NPCs that you think you've had?
There was Boris.
There was Boris,
who was related to a bunch of characters within the story.
He was connected to a lot of stuff, and he was centered around a quest line, correct?
Yes, because he understood the language. Like an ancient language.
And I know his characters, we definitely weren't like super attached to him, but we definitely enjoyed having him around because we could make jokes at his expense. Mm-hmm. Because he was a child character and we had problems. We still have problems, but we'd like to make jokes about it.
You wanted to steal him from his like stepdad.
Because we thought that would be really funny.
I
It's definitely easier to connect to a character and like a child NPC.
yes, because you really liked the fire.
We liked him
Pyro
because
guy.
he was an arsonist.
Yes, yeah. I mean,
Listen,
you're
me and
so
the other
friendly
guy,
to him.
me and the other guy, we listen. The other guy likes children, and he actually told me his backstory, so I know why.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
Okay,
he
yeah,
really
he
wanted to
told
tell me about it, and I
Really?
was
Oh.
like, I would love to hear.
Yes.
So now I know.
It is pretty interesting, I think. his
Anyways,
backstory.
but that's besides the point. So he obviously likes children as a character, and
Mm-hmm.
my character saw him as an opportunity to manipulate for her cult.
Oh.
And
Wait, no, you didn't think about the cult by this point, did you?
no, I did. At that point, I believe I was working on the cult.
Ah, I see. Okay.
But also because he was a pyromaniac. My character is so chaotic, so it fit
Yeah.
perfectly.
No, that
He wasn't actually a pyromaniac.
Yes.
But children characters are pretty relatable.
which is weird.
I think another.
No, that's weird because usually child characters people don't like.
Well, no, because as children, people generally connect to children more. Because people generally are like, oh, it's a child, want to protect it.
Well, no, here's the thing, because, I mean, let's go for games, for example.
Okay.
Children in, like, let's say Skyrim,
The children aren't interactable in Skyrim.
A
You
little
could
bit.
play tag with them, but I don't actually know how to play tag. I usually end up just, like, punching them by accident.
They're usually not well written, or they're just
Exactly.
different sized adults.
Exactly.
Or they're the most annoying things ever.
If you're making an actual child, though... but also, you have another character in your campaign that you're currently doing who's an NPC, who's in the party. I forget her name. Emily?
Yes, Emily.
Emily,
Well-
how did you go about making Emily? Where
Okay,
did she come from?
Listen, they needed. This is what was a point where they were removing, like two people were going away or just weren't gonna always be there. So I wanted an NPC in which.
Oh, a filler thing.
Yes, exactly. So
Okay.
to balance things out within this, the campaign because I'm running water deep.
So
Dragon
very
Heist.
clearly, though, at this point, she's had some sort of connection to all our players.
Yes, like because she's fought like each other. I mean, fought like a lot of them, and
She's feisty.
she's okay. Because
She's annoying.
her whole personality.
her.
Her whole personality is like she's just really happy to be there, and she
I
wants
hate
to be
her
an
so
adventurer.
much. I don't.
And
If she was a real person, I would never talk to her.
I mean, her. At the,
I hate her.
Listen, her at the beginning, she was just begging for an opportunity to become an adventurer.
I hate her so much.
And so like they took her in.
She's
Well,
so annoying.
as it kind of unpaid intern.
She's the unpaid intern. I want to beat her up. I really hope she dies.
Wait, okay. I'm trying to understand why you dislike her so much.
I dislike her because it's fun to dislike her.
Oh yeah.
But also because, like, me as an actual human being, I would not want to talk to somebody like that.
Why?
Well, because it's like, why are you so energetic? Like, I'm already really energetic.
Exactly. We should vibe with that.
And when you're more energetic than me for no reason, and you're more happy for everything, like you want to square up with everybody, but like you actually want to fight everybody, that's not cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I will
no,
punch you.
like,
Like,
in
I
the-
do want to fight
like
you
in
now.
the Goku way, not in.
I've
the,
not seen that.
Okay. No.
I
it's-
don't like her, besides the point.
She's like a bimbo. Like.
I'm gonna open my soda.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Mountain Dew Red, everybody. Not sponsored.
Okay, I mean, because you noted for me that usually my characters tend to be like lose focus or lose energy later on.
Yeah, when you make characters, usually they start off with some sort of interesting thing. Like, they can begin
Yeah.
kind of interesting. But for you, like, it just seems like the longer you try to maintain a character, the more
Yeah,
it
there's
just
a
turns
general
into
decline.
just kind of like basic.
Yeah, and like because I'm not putting as much effort into them. or
Yeah, it seems like
pre-planning.
Emily is doing a little better.
Yes.
So proud of you for that.
Appreciate it. There's also
She's pretty cool.
I think I really like. She's kind of similar to other female characters I've made, though.
Yes, I didn't want to say that,
No,
but she
you're
has.
Right. You're right, and I mean that
I
was
know
kind
you've
of the
been
point. That was
trying
kind
to
of the
make a
point.
character like that for a while, so I never said anything because it's like actually working.
Oh yes, because I think there was one
This
in
is
my
the second time you've made a character
no
like that.
third time.
Third time, sorry.
'Cause-
You're right, Alex.
Yes, Alex, which is the other campaign. Which I kind of like the making female NPCs like that type And I know there was one in which
Kevin just likes feisty women.
there's a school campaign, right? And there was another female that was kind of around similar age, and parents died, you know, and traveled
Dead parent
along.
trope.
Yeah, and yeah, no, I don't know. I just dig that kind of vibe of a character.
Dead parent trope?
No, just the independent, like strong. Like,
I hate
young
independent,
girl.
strong women. If you're an independent, strong woman, don't talk to me.
Okay. How about you? How do you go on developing your characters?
Well,
Or making
so we'll start off with one of, I think personally, is one of my more memorable characters, which was Shen.
Mm-hmm.
And so Shen actually was not a pre-planned NPC
No,
at all.
he wa-
Everybody knew he wasn't.
Yeah, because
But
Donovan
Shen,
is doing
Shen,
this.
he
Okay.
was originally just like a waiter. He didn't have a name
Yeah,
or anything.
okay, I
He
think-
was a waiter, and Kevin's character, he wanted to meme a little. And I
Yes.
decided there's consequences for being dick to waiters. And
was
so
trying to
this
be.
NPC didn't like him. And then the same night, everybody destroyed the hotel rooms. And I was like, wouldn't it be really funny if the same waiter came back midnight to go that's not the word, to clean up your guys' mess, because they put
Okay.
a couch in the hallway.
Uh-huh.
And so I was having the NPC go put the couch back, but Kevin felt really bad for this NPC.
Yeah.
So eventually they actually ended up adopting this NPC. And at that point I realized I needed to make him interesting. He was one of those things where like the players just adopt a random NPC. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, now he needs a story and a personality.
He was
So
like really short or something, and
he
like,
was tiny.
like
Put him on my shoulders.
Yeah. And so what I did was I was like, okay, well, I'll keep his general personality, which was he was supposed to be moderately timid, kind of small, little dude. And after a while, I developed, his background. So I was like, okay, cool. Why is he timid? Because he was haunted by the spirit his entire life. You guys actually didn't know that, but
okay.
it was hinted at just near at the end. He was haunted by a shadow creature.
Uh-huh.
So he
well, honestly,
Yeah.
I didn't really take into account that whole thing.
No, and his parents were the bar owners, and I just like slowly threw in a backstory for him, which made him more interesting. And if you asked questions, then he would have answers. Like a lot of that stuff you guys didn't even like consider at all.
No.
None of you guys asked questions, nothing. You just adopted him. But I wanted to make
Yeah.
sure it was there just in case.
Just in case.
If I look at my notes, actually, you will see that in my notes, I actually noted down a lot of different stuff about Shen,
Uh-huh.
about like his personality, where he comes from, things that he does.
His favorite color.
I did not note his favorite color, but it was probably green.
That makes sense. Okay, here's the thing. I don't think his character death was done very well.
I
don't-
loved killing him.
Okay. Like,
So
I mean, it
everybody was
seemed-
really attached to him, and
Okay.
I did a cutscene. Yes,
Donovan,
I did a
do you want to
cutscene.
participate in the podcast?
No, I did a cutscene.
Get out of here.
I did a
Please.
cutscene. And it was actually like the death of the NPC wasn't particularly important, but I wanted to add it in because it added in more of this like, all right, well, who the hell is this guy? So basically what happened was I was like, well, everybody's attached to this NPC, and I don't want this NPC in the end game. I didn't want him in the end because I didn't like having to roll for him, and he wasn't particularly important.
Okay.
So
Here's how a death scene is written though. Like,
Okay.
Like, I mean, there's usually like some sense of foreshadowing, or, you know.
see, but the whole point was you guys didn't know about this other dude. And
Sure,
so you guys
but-
went to
okay.
go fight this wizard.
Yes.
And what was supposed to be dramatic was the fact that the teleporter guy, Axel, he came in and he killed the wizard before you guys even like could get to him.
Okay. Yes.
And then he started to monologue as characters do, as villains do.
Uh-huh.
And Shen got really upset because he had brought up how he was actually friends with the wizard, and that upset Shen because Shen was like, why would you betray like your friends like that? Why would you? Because you guys were Shen's first friends,
Okay.
and Shen couldn't imagine
honestly
killing
that,
his friends.
Honestly, that felt kind of random because Shen is supposed to be timid, and
He was
he's-
timid.
Yeah, and then he randomly.
But he got upset because you guys were his friends, and he couldn't imagine what would happen if somebody killed all his friends.
I feel like you could have developed that a little earlier. That's something he would do based.
I didn't
on
have a lot of
friends.
time. Okay.
I know.
Anyways, I killed
yeah.
him, and it was super dramatic, and people were very upset. And then they talked to its ghost, and
Yes.
it didn't do anything. He was happy. He was actually happier being dead because he was no longer haunted. So it was cool.
Yes.
He had a nice ending. And then do I have other NPCs that I've made? I can't even think.
Uh,
I've only done one campaign.
Yeah, wait. There was the dad and son thing.
The dad and son thing?
Like, he was...
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about them. I forgot. So, in my original campaign, you guys had Yul. And Yul was supposed to be leading the party. He was, like, the experienced adventurer.
Yeah.
And you guys met a...
Like Vince. Kind of.
Yeah. You
But yours
guys
was
met
better.
a different NPC. I think his name was Gene. And you
yes.
guys just, like, the first moment you met them, you realized, like, they immediately started arguing. They were supposed to have, like, this bad blood. Like Yul was very disappointed in his son. And so it was kind of just a fun moment. And everybody definitely thought Gene was way cooler than Yul. Because at this point, everybody was really tired of Yul. Because... And I actually realized that. That's why I kind of decided to kind of take a little different direction.
Yeah,
but because Yul was beginning to be... Because he
Annoying.
was supposed to be the leader of the group, he was supposed to be guiding everybody. At this point, everybody had experience. So everybody was annoyed with Yul trying to lead them. And so then I wanted to be like, okay, well, you guys aren't the only ones who dislike Yul, you know? And I decided to throw in Gene. You guys actually didn't get too attached to Gene, which was okay, but I just thought it would be a fun little twist to be like,
I think
Yul
we liked-
has a child.
I think we like Gene.
You guys definitely very quickly found out that Yul was married to the Oracle. That was pretty funny. I really liked that. Actually, I had the Yul being married thing planned. But it was really sweet because I really thought you guys were going to be like, oh, that's lame. But everybody's like, oh, no, that's so cute.
yeah.
And they built like flower statues for them.
Yes, I remember that.
It was fantastic. And like Yul, his original plan was to be a guide, and his personality actually changed from the first day. He completely changed. His original personality was supposed to be like very stern, very kind of like strict dude.
Yeah, I got
and then immediately you guys made it to where he had to be less strict. So then I did. Eventually I brought the strictness back, but at first you guys were not gonna.
Aurora, don't engage.
I just noticed.
You just noticed. Okay.
Anyways, so they were really fun to write.
Hold on.
They were fun to write.
Oh, dang.
And the main villain, he was brief, but I enjoyed him as well. He was supposed to be kind of crazy. And whatever. Kevin does not like the ending of that campaign at all.
I mean,
but we will talk about that another day.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
But
to be fair, I've never ended a campaign yet, so
I
mean,
do-
It's got to be hard.
Hold on, let me
you know.
pull up my Google Doc with all my characters, because I just told you that I had a list of NPCs. It's called Unnamed, and there's a lot written here, but don't even worry about that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, and this is probably not even what I'm gonna end up doing. So, anyways, I have some NPC stuff, and I actually have like this whole list right here of just a bunch of different things. So I have like this, there's supposed to be these people at like the bar, the tavern or whatever. And I wanted them to be important. I wanted you guys to get to know them. So I gave them like name, skin tone, whatever. And then one of the bartenders is like really ill and is like a disease. And you guys aren't supposed to know about that right away. But you're supposed to like figure it out over time as you get to know him and everything. So that was supposed to be fun. And if you guys didn't care, it was one of those things where it's like if you didn't realize the NPC would just be dead one day, and you guys would come by to the tavern, and then the wife would be like there, and then you guys would be like, "Oh, where's your husband?" And then he's dead.
Right.
But I have like personalities for a lot of stuff, and I like your like what's their point like in the campaign.
In character goal. Because that's what defines a character.
When I make my characters, I like to come up with something that would be interesting about this character, like a reason why you would want to interact with this character. I find that really important because if there's no reason, like if you make a character who's just there for like a specific goal, that's fine. You know, it's good to have characters with goals. But if you want a character that's like interactable, that you want like people to know well,
sure.
I think part of it is making it like why? Why would you want to interact with this person?
Well, that's why I consider like, okay, what do I want for this scene?
Yeah.
Or once for the story to happen. So what character would fit best for that?
And I definitely like making stuff up based around the players' opinions and assumptions.
Which I do something similar.
I think it's very fun to do that. Because even if you're like, this is how I want this character to be, still good to adjust them.
Yes, because sometimes they just don't work, or the players don't.
You gotta make sure your NPCs gel with your player characters. No matter how well you know your player characters, they never will gel perfectly with an NPC that you think you've got perfect. You have to adjust it still somehow.
Wait, you know what? I think not just like them, but sometimes write characters that you want your players to hate, right?
Yes.
And I think you hate a bunch of my characters within the...
I like to hate characters. I find it really fun. And especially,
so did the others too.
I wanted that to be kind of part of my character's personality. My character in that campaign, as I said, isn't particularly fleshed out because I had to come up with her in like a day.
Yeah, that's
and she was like related to one of the characters, and I was more interested in just like trying to get her done so then I had something to go with.
I mean, it's an interesting character.
And again, I didn't know how I would mix with the rest of the D&D party, so I wanted to do something that would be easy to do.
Right.
And I actually had to change her personality from what I originally wanted too. I originally wanted her to be like a character who was like didn't interact with a lot of people and didn't want to be interacted with, and she communicated more through just like general intimidation.
Got it.
I can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
I've changed it too much at this point. I tried to get that off right away, and then it didn't really stick.
No.
So I decided to go with something different.
A character that doesn't like to interact with people it doesn't really work much.
Yeah. So I changed it. Now she's just like annoyed.
Yeah.
She's easily annoyed. She's became moderate acquaintances with one of the characters, but that's because they're both supposed to be like that, like, I don't care about anybody characters, so they kind of gel. It's like in like the movies and stuff where you see like one person's like, I hate everything, and the other person's like, me too, and then they just sit there angrily next to each other.
Right.
That's basically the two characters. They're just like, I hate everybody here, and then it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're starting a cult.
Yeah. No, that scene...
That's my motive.
That scene with that other cult wasn't in the campaign.
That was fantastic. I'm really glad. I know that we definitely I know you don't do a lot of stuff like that for the players. Like, just like letting us kind of do like really dramatic stuff really pretty easily. Because, for example, there was no way that guy died in one shot, right? And then everybody else generally, for like regular stuff, probably wouldn't have cowered that way without any saving throws.
It's called like rule of cool.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Normally, you don't usually do anything super like that.
No,
and
usually.
So it was actually really appreciated that you did that for everybody.
It was a lot of improv on my part.
But everybody really enjoyed it.
Yes.
I think everybody had fun with it. It was kind of funny when you like walked away from the table and then we all just discussed what we wanted to do. And then we like got partway through the plan and then just completely changed it because you went with because originally we had a whole plan of how to kill everybody individually, and then you just let us kill the one guy. And
yeah, and like, I mean,
it was way cooler. It was super fun.
Listen,
and
like,
we left a note telling him to join our cult and that their god isn't real.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, how about other ways to make a character more developed, I guess, or better?
Like NPC character?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess no. Honestly, I think it counts for both. Cause, how about I think something to keep in mind is character arcs. I guess character development.
Yeah.
Because I realized that for mine, I never planned that. I never planned for the characters to change. I just planned them to stay the same and just stick with you guys.
I definitely don't plan for a character to change, but I give them opportunities to.
Right.
I've told you about the character that I've made that I want to use for our next campaign.
Yes.
And so very clearly the character is supposed to be, he's supposed to be kind of like a chipper, kind of happy dude. He wants to get along with people, but at the same time, he has his goals. He knows what he wants to do.
Right.
And he's definitely, I want to give him the opportunity to like connect with other people, because like throughout his time of his journey or whatever, he wants to do this one thing, so he doesn't really interact with a lot of people.
Yeah.
He's social, but he doesn't make friends. And I
Right.
want to give him the chance, obviously, to like become a more interesting character and to have more motives instead of just like I need to find this guy, otherwise I'm gonna die, you know?
Right.
And like I want to give him, like, I don't have it built like into his personality, but I want to give him chances to be like genuinely upset and have moments of like being down you know, because he is dying and he hasn't seen his family that he loves very dearly in like years, you know? So he's sad, but he just pretends to be happy kind of thing.
Right.
And I want to give him chances to change and grow. But like with Shen, he even grew with the party too. He was originally super timid, but eventually he became pretty attached to Donovan's character. I don't know why, he just eventually became attached to Donovan's character.
It's weird how he developed more. You made him hate my character.
It was really funny to make everybody at the Golden Goose hate your character.
Yeah.
Dude, you wanted ice in a world that doesn't make ice. Wanted iced tea, and it's like, Shuddy, we have to go to another dimension to go get ice.
That exists.
I decided that it would be way funnier if everybody was really annoyed that you wanted iced in your drink, because like
it was
that
funny.
means that they had to go to like a different dimension or like go outside to go get ice because they don't have like ice, like they don't have fridges and stuff.
Which wasn't that hard to do because that's how the place worked.
But it was like super inconvenient. Like nobody gets ice in their like in their tea. It was so funny, though. It was really funny. And then the one time you tried to help Donovan, but instead you just harassed another waiter because he rolled so low.
Yeah.
It was really fun. I think making moments like that where it's just like, you just take whatever you get and just kind of throw it.
I mean, a lot of it is improv, yeah.
I think also when you're making a character, like player characters, I think making some sort of connection with the other players is important. Having some, like, general interactions between all of the specific players, like in your campaign. Sorry. In your campaign, I know specifically I've interacted with Tyler's character a lot.
Yeah.
I've interacted with him. I've also interacted with Luke's character quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I want to interact more with the Artificer's character, but the two characters' personalities don't mix as much.
Yeah.
So they don't interact as much, obviously. I used to interact with Jesse's character, and we've actually had a bunch of new characters now, so I'm kind of excited for that. But I think that's just important personally as somebody who likes to interact with other people. But
Sure.
I think making characters having specific feelings and like ways that they act and treat the people in their party is important.
Totally.
Yeah. Because, like, if you just treat everybody the same, you know, that's not really particularly normal. Like, I don't even act the same around the same group of people.
Oh.
Yeah, I behave and, like, talk and think different depending on the people I'm around.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know if that is actually normal.
I think that is. Honestly, I think I do something.
Like, I talk the same way as people that I'm around usually. So if the people I'm around talk in really dumb ways, I talk in really dumb ways.
No, that's a normal thing. That's totally normal.
That's cool.
It isn't an abnormal thing.
Yes? Come join us, Tommy.
Come in. Okay.
You're allowed to use your voice.
Yes.
Tommy is joining us.
Yes, Tommy is joining us.
Welcome, Tommy.
Hey, what's up?
Tommy, how do you make a good player, character, / NPC?
Here comes a new challenger. Yeah, so I was listening to this a little bit, and I made a character.
You made a character.
I did, and
Yeah.
it
For
was so
what
much fun. I made a couple
specifically?
characters.
For what?
For D&D, of course.
Okay.
D&D,
Are you
okay.
in a campaign?
We were, but our whole party had a whole party kill except for my other character who survived because he wasn't the character I'm going to talk about.
Okay, fantastic. Please tell us a little bit
Sure.
about your character.
So the character I had was named Carrion Fear. It was a warlock tiefling
Okay.
of nobility, and and the whole thing was he's like underneath this world, and he's trying to come up to kind of like learn humility because he doesn't really care about people at all because he's like, I'm just better than everybody.
I was gonna make a character like that.
No, that's a good way to make a character.
Yeah,
Make a character who thinks they're above other people,
Well,
but
because
like
he
over
is.
time, yeah.
That's the thing. Like his
Mine
whole-
was too. He was half god, so
What?
that's a different campaign.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun, and the whole thing is like they like move around the whole world through like doors and gates, kind of like the gates that you see over in North America, the big old stone gates. They actually know how to use those.
I think I used that for a campaign one time.
Yeah, it's a lot
actually.
of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, so
I
that's
saw
what
that in some
they would
stuff.
just be able to move that. But when he got up there, he had no more access to those gates, so he couldn't really actually use those gates anymore. So he couldn't just move the party where he wanted to.
Yeah.
But when I was playing that character, it was really fun because I found out something about me that I did not know when the whole party was gonna die. We went to this guy. He casted darkness on the whole entire party, and I'm all like looking around. I'm like, I got a kingdom to run, and I don't like any of you.
Did he ditch them?
I'm out.
Oh, I love
I
that.
ran away. You know what happened though?
What? They died.
I saved the party.
Oh, really?
The darkness stayed on me because it was anchored to me.
Oh,
That's pretty awesome, actually.
That's actually really. Oh, so your selfishness.
My
saved-
selfishness saved everybody.
So
That's amazing.
I ran a one shot for
Yeah.
A ton of people. I ran it for my cousins and stuff for my graduation party.
Oh
Were you there?
no,
I didn't think so.
No, I didn't
Pretty
know
sure I
about
invited
this.
you.
You did?
I'm pretty sure. Anyways,
I'm pretty sure you didn't. But
I
okay.
think I did. But hold on, let me readjust, guys. I can't stand on the chair, but I wasn't gonna. Tommy's here. I'm not allowed to stand on the chair.
That's right. No staying on the chair. You might die, and then we'd have to go hide the body.
Yeah, like
And we would hide the body.
lawsuits.
I'm pretty small.
And now it's
so-
on like YouTube for everyone to know.
I'm
The
pretty-
body wasn't hidden. That was
I'm pretty small,
joke.
so
A joke.
it's pretty easy
A
to
a
hide
joke.
my
It was,
body.
it was just a joke, guys.
But so I had to. It was a one shot, and everybody made their characters right then and there. So I actually knew nothing about everybody's characters, except for what they very briefly told me. And I had to make this world around it. I had a general idea of what I wanted to do.
Improvising most.
It was pretty fun. The general idea was supposed to be there was two kingdoms. They were in one kingdom, and the king was like, my son keeps spending time in this other kingdom, and I would like it if he came home. And so they went home, and they find out that the prince is like dating the other prince. And the one prince's dad is very against that kind of stuff, because this is the group of people I was with is into those kind of things. So I thought it'd be a fun thing to do. And not only did they love the characters, because the prince they went to retrieve is very obviously very like timid and like, oh no, you found me, like, oh no. And the other one was very confident gay. So like while the one guy was like hiding it like under the covers, like, don't look at me, the other one was just standing, boxers leaning against a pole, like, so what you guys here for? Like. So everybody really liked those two characters. They were super fun, and it was really interesting because at first everybody was very much on the original king's side. It was like, oh yeah, your son should definitely come home every once in a while, not just spend time in this other kingdom all the time, And then they go over there and they're like, well, now we know why he's over here, And like the second king was like super chill about it, new and everything, and he was like, so then they planned to fake the original prince's, like the first prince's death. They decided, because he was like, I really don't want to go home. Like my dad, I don't like my dad. And so they were like, don't even worry about it, dude. Dude, we are going to fake your death in the woods in between the two kingdoms. We're going to hire bandits to fake murder you, and you can stay here with your boyfriend. And they were just loving it. They were having a great time. Moments of meeting this character, like the two characters, they were just in love with them. And they didn't really have much of a backstory except for their interactions with other people.
Sure.
And not conflicting, but like that opposite kind of personality. It was really fun because while some of them really clinged to the more timid one who was like, guys, like, I really don't like my dad. I really don't want to go home. I just want to be here and like be happy. And then the other one was just like, let's party. Let me get you some food. You guys want to pretend murder my boyfriend, I guess, but you better bring him back. Otherwise, I'm going to kill you. And like, so they liked both of the characters and they immediately knew who they, like they disliked and liked who I wanted them to, obviously. Because that's how I had them set up, because I knew the players well enough. So it was easy enough to make these like NPCs who they could connect to and also dislike.
This was a one-shot.
This was a one-shot.
Do you think it's easier to make a character for like one shot or like one session or like a long-running
It definitely
character?
depends. I think like long-running characters are fun. And I personally like making stuff up kind of on the spot and developing over time.
Uh-huh.
But that's just because I'm broken.
Right.
But the one-shots are also really fun because you get that chance to try something new.
Right.
You get the chance to like experiment with something and just see if it works. And like one of my players, their character was actually pretty interesting. The idea of their character, I told everybody they had to have some sort of connections to the king. They had to interact, and that's why the king was specifically asking for them, right?
Yeah,
so
which
it wasn't
is
just
good.
random commoners.
Totally.
And so that gave all the players a chance to figure out how they were like connected to the king. And one of the players were like, "Oh, dude, I can't think of what it was, but basically they're sleeping with the king." And the king didn't have a wife at the time. I think she was dead. Yeah, something like that. But she was a succubus, if I remember right. So she was like sleeping with the king and also like the king's daughter.
What? I'm sorry. What
kind of things do you run?
Yeah.
No, that's just what the player wanted to do. It didn't really matter. That was just something she made up. But the character I wanted to talk about was, so they wanted their character to be like masked, and they wanted him to be well known but not at the same time. And the idea was that this character helped create the kingdom because they were some sort of like nature person who like manipulated like growth and stuff. So a lot of the kingdom was made out of like tree roots and greenery and stuff, and their character helped maintain that stuff. So that's how they were connected to the king. So it made it more interesting for some of the characters because like you can't entirely hate this person because this person like I work for, like this person pays my salary. But most of them pretty quickly were like, well, hell, I'll go work for the new king, like let's overthrow the other government. And of course they actually didn't get to end up doing a lot of that. They just got to make the plans to do that. It was a very brief amount of time that we got to play.
Got it.
But the fact that everybody so quickly like clinged onto a character, and they made interesting enough characters. Some of them were boring and pretty basic, as to be expected, but some of them like tried to make their character kind of interesting.
Sure. That's a lot for one shot, honestly.
Yeah, that seems like there's a lot more there.
I fleshed it out quite a bit in my head while doing it.
Oh, dang.
Like while doing things, it was pretty easy to just expand.
How long did you play for?
Just a couple hours.
It was like 2 minutes. It was amazing.
It
the
was
best
just
2 minutes of our life.
Just a couple hours, because none of them could stay for very long.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Everybody had to leave pretty quickly, so we probably played like 3 or 4 hours.
Tommy, have you ever DM'd a campaign?
I've never had to DM a campaign at all. I was always a player. I did like a really quick DM at the store for like a demo, but it was really basically just following a script, go through the script, and lie about my roles a little bit, so either make it more exciting. Because sometimes they were just breezing right through it, and I'm all like, well, that didn't happen. So, So trying to keep the challenge level where it was needed to be. Yeah. And because I believe that the DM screen is something that you should use and utilize quite a bit. And like if they're breezing through it, well, it's not any fun for them.
Then change it,
if it's too hard for them, it's not any fun for them.
Yeah, exactly.
If they make really bad decisions, you should definitely kill their characters, and you should not feel like you're against
a character.
You should never feel like you're
against the
players. No. All you're doing is adding consequences to decisions that they decided were good decisions, but they were awful decisions, and you should.
Yeah. And I think that makes players think more about their character
too.
Like
that one time I just talked about when I ran. It's because my DM will kill the party. He will kill it if it happens, it happens. And and a lot of times players, they think
they're
that's
invincible.
The worst thing that could happen, but it's the best thing, because I tell you, like, the choices that I'm making at that moment are life and death, because it will end up in character death, and the character's not coming back in any magical spell. I mean, I might get his brother to avenge him. That might be almost exactly like him in the same personality, because I'm not a very creative person. But
no, and so I actually killed a character in my campaign. I killed a player.
It's super important to do it too,
because so everybody else was pretty well behaved in the campaign. In general, kind of acted generally how they should. Especially it was my first time DMing. Nobody wanted to give me too many issues while I was trying to figure stuff out, except for my brother.
Kill.
And so there was a moment where they were talking to this adult red dragon.
Oh.
And
yes, I remember this.
This dragon is trying to inform them of something. This dragon's trying to tell them, like, hey, as long as you leave me and my child alone, whatever, I won't hurt you, and I will keep him under wraps, yada, yada, yada. My brother was irritating this dragon, was talking absolute trash to this dragon, and they were like level 3 max. And like they were not supposed to fight this dragon at all.
No.
And so I was like, the dragon, like gets irritated and like stomps by you. She like stomps her foot, kind of as a warning. And he just continues to sass. And then I was like, okay, well now she's like really mad. So there's like smoke coming from her nostrils. And the pushing point is when he goes, you shouldn't really smoke. It's bad for you. And I was like, all right, you do not say that to an adult red dragon. So I went, take like 80 damage, and he was like, there's not like a save or anything. I was like, no, it's a freaking fireball and you're level 3, you're not saving anything, you are dead. And so they went and they like put his like stuff over in their bar that they made. No, that campaign was wild. They stole a pirate ship and then turned into they spent an entire session planning out this bar. We were like for hours. You guys just talked about building this bar.
Yes,
it was ridiculous.
You always bring that up. Too.
I do like to bring it up because it was a really good time
and
you guys really enjoyed it. But I literally sat in silence for like an hour and a half, just waiting for you guys to figure out what you guys were doing.
Right.
It was pretty funny, and they built this bar and they loved this bar.
Was it very successful?
Yes, it was.
Actually, yeah.
And it was in the one land that didn't get absolutely destroyed.
Hey,
because Kevin does not like the end of this campaign.
No, like
the main characters died, and the bad guys won. And in the world, there's multiple like worlds, like dimensions or whatever. And the bad guy basically wanted to destroy all worlds but one, and then overrule the one. And that's what he did because he killed the player characters. Because Kale just gave the axe to the bad guy.
We didn't understand. Truly,
no, the lady was like, hey, this axe is really important and is the only thing that'll help you like survive this. And then they died.
We tried attacking him with it.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. So I'm telling you right now. So then they died, and they were supposed to die. They were originally supposed to die, but they were supposed to come back. And the point was they were supposed to break this wall. By accident or whatever. I was going to have them accidentally break the wall. But one of the characters in the bad place was like, hey, I know that axe. You should give it to me, and I'll go put it where it belongs. And my brother's like, yeah, okay. And just gave it to him. And then
that's because that's what we thought we were supposed to do.
No! The lady told you not to like let anybody have it, and it was your only way to succeed. And this clearly bad guy goes, hey, you should let me have that. And Kale, of course it was Kale, just gave it to him. And so then he went, destroyed the wall, and they got their butts. No, you guys didn't even fight. You all just submitted. The guys were like, oh, okay, we're gonna fight. Kale played dead.
We were so confused.
So they got thrown into these, like, basically they died. And so the worlds were taken over, but they got to keep their bar, technically, and Gene ran the bar. No, Leo ran the bar.
Yes.
I forgot about an NPC.
Leo. Oh, wow.
They liked Leo. Leo was an adventurer from a town that they helped out. Anyways, he ran the bar, just like, oh, I guess everybody died, and set up like urns for everybody and stuff, and was like to our founders and whatnot. Kevin's character got forgotten because I gave him a deck of many things, and Kevin pulled a card.
Which was an odd choice.
I just thought it would be fun.
Yeah, it was.
It was fun. But Kevin pulled a card that basically made it where everybody forgot who he was and everything he did.
Yeah.
So we went back to the bar and everybody was like, "Who's this guy?"
Oh, yeah. He had the urn there. Like, and this mysterious urn named Kevin.
No. That was.
But it was pretty fun. It was a fun campaign, and I think I made a lot of.
These are our Patreons and.
Like, when we think about it, very obviously, when I remember all the characters I made, I feel like you guys liked all of the characters that I made.
Yeah, that's true.
And
you made some pretty good characters.
They were fun. I gave them all, like, interesting enough personalities to interact with. I always find that important. It's just like making a character fun to talk to.
Totally.
Because it's not fun to interact with a character who's just, like, boring all the time.
Yeah.
Like, that's why when we ran your campaign and I did Percy, you know, they liked Percy because Percy was just mean. He was grumpy, you know? And so they liked Percy because Percy was just like, I don't really like you guys. And then Kale was like, yeah, but I like you. And I was like, okay, over time we can become friends. And then they did. And they started sending each other letters.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah. Okay.
Kevin, what was your first character? And a little bit about that character.
Here's the thing. I don't like being a player. I think.
I forgot about that.
being the player character,
You sound
just,
like a loser.
It's just something I don't enjoy.
You're a loser.
In all honesty.
You have fans, I see. Groupies even.
We got groupie guys. Groupies.
There we go. We can probably put that up there.
It's the thumbnail.
Fans.
Tommy, do you remember
This
your
is going
first
in the
character?
video.
It's hard to remember my first character because we played like when I was real younger, and it was like these like one-off type of things, and
Yeah.
it was
when you're
more of a,
learning.
it's more of like a, here's your character. His name is Warrior.
I love that.
His name is
I remember
Wizard.
my first character pretty well because I only made him like really recently. My Steve Schmick. I did not get to play him for very long.
Because it was like a one-shot sort of thing.
No,
right?
it was for your campaign, but I started DMing.
Yes, that's
So
right.
I never got to play him very long.
Yeah, you're
I played him for a
right.
couple sessions, but I love him. He's still my favorite character. Probably not, but I like him a lot. I think
yeah.
about him sometimes.
Yeah.
But he was supposed to be, he came from a circus, and he left the circus with his friend Tom Hall. They were in the circus together. They were friends, and Kale was afraid of elephants.
Kale is super unoriginal with names, I've realized.
No,
Or, like, he
it was
doesn't-
a
he doesn't-
joke.
I
We
know.
did that, and we did it
No,
one
for
time.
other characters he makes.
I know,
he
we
doesn't
did it
give
the one
names.
time, and now we've just been doing that.
That's true. He names them after actors, and
It's been kind of a funny thing to
it's
do.
funny. I'm just.
And then it gives him an idea of how to base around his character
Sure.
for what they do. So,
That's
I mean,
true.
give him credit where credit's
Kale
due. At least
kinda-
he's making a character.
Yeah, I guess. But
At least the characters have names.
My
Have
name
you
is
met Kale's
Christian,
character in the campaign you're
Bale.
playing right now?
Right, we named him N.
Yeah, I've nicknamed him N.
Okay. Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Also, never feel ashamed to base your characters around other things. I have a character set up that's supposed to be based around the two. I cannot think of who they are. I'll find it. Hold on.
Okay, wait. But on ideas for characters, what are good ways of like coming up with ideas for characters? Do you think?
I think creating a great flaw with your character is a great way to actually.
Sure. I mean,
So like let's just say your character's inherently
Bonnie and
lazy, right? So even before
Yeah.
you do something, you could like roll a die, and it has to be over. Nah, I guess not. I don't
Yeah.
feel like it. Or
Right.
or maybe they're very annoying, so they don't know when to stop, right?
Flawed
so then
characters
they can
are
keep
important.
they can keep speaking and keep talking and.
I think I made him my most recent character for the next campaign I want to do. His biggest flaw is that he really likes shiny things.
That's a good flaw.
Exactly. So, and
'Cause it
that's
gets him in
actually part of
trouble.
his
It makes it
backstory
interesting,
too. It's
you
part of
know?
his backstory too.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited to see whatever Kevin does.
Yeah.
Definitely lead him in a trap. Because he likes shiny things. He is a
Yeah.
thief who just really likes shiny things. He's pretty smart, but also kind of an idiot. I'm really excited because I'm ready for him to just fall right into Kevin's hands.
I think it reminds me of a Critical Role.
Yeah, that one does too. Because like
Yeah.
the shiny.
Shiny
like,
I
things,
don't
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Steve's general flaw was that he was like overly optimistic. I think that was supposed to be his flaw, was that everything we did, he was like, no, it's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be perfect. And if we all die, we'll die together as friends. And like he was just always that way.
Sure.
Except for I didn't get to
Another
play
good
him
thing
for
that makes
very
character
long.
Is know your backstory. Like know what motivates you in the
Sure.
first place. You know.
Motivating a character, yeah.
Like what actually makes you want to go on this? Do you need money? Is that why you're here? And if
Yeah.
you need money,
I
make
made a
sure that the
character go on a
decisions that
quest
you
out of
make
boredom.
are based on money, and then your character could develop relationships
Yes.
over time. But at first,
Totally.
you know,
Entirely
you're just a
based around that.
mercenary. You're here for the money. You're here for the hire. If it's out of scope, it's out of scope, and I'm not doing it.
Right. Okay. Here's the thing. I think you need to be aware about both flaws and backstories, because with flaws, if it's like a really annoying flaw and that character doesn't change,
Yeah.
you just dislike the character, or
You're just
annoyed by
making
the-
something that's not fun for everybody else to
exactly,
do.
because there's people who just stick to their character so hard.
It's one of those
that
things
they're
where it's
a
like, it's
detriment.
what my character would do.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like, don't be that character.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, yeah, but you're making it inconvenient and not fun for everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to say the best example has been Donovan's character lately. where he kind of always goes gun-ho in everything without asking questions, while everybody else is trying to do something and try to plan things out. That happened your last session before we got to do that cool thing. Yeah. We actually stopped Donovan from actually doing anything because we were all trying to do something else.
Make a plan.
And he was just like, nope, this is what we're doing instead. It was like, that's not fun. That's not cool for everybody else.
So
I get every once in a while, but when you do it every
fun.
Single time, it becomes kind of just like, hey,
moderation.
you're excluding everybody else at this point.
There's another way of dealing with that. Let him do what he's doing and like walk out.
Just him.
Just walk out.
Yeah.
Because then what happens is his character dies.
He does die.
Yeah.
And you just be like, well, I guess we gotta go to the inn and find a new player that's not like that one. Don't make him again, because we will do the same thing.
Yeah. And if we end up doing that, I'm sure. But it was just like one of those things where we actually got to do something cool because we stopped him.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Wait, about backstory. I know there's some people who like create a backstory and then tell it all off on the first.
Yeah.
And I think people shouldn't put so much focus on their backstory and tell the whole thing because it's much more interesting to just tell it little by little. Yeah. And you don't have to tell everything.
I like obviously telling your DM.
Well, yeah.
Then your DM. So, like, it's fun to tell your DM so then your DM can, like, implement those things into your, like, the campaign to make it more fun and more personalized. Like, obviously, you don't want to be like, the campaign needs to be around me and what I want to do.
Sure.
But it's like, if I tell the DM, I'm like, hey, my character has this motive. Like, this is why they're here. And, like, this is their backstory. I'd really appreciate it if you, like, added some sort of thing to that. That'd be pretty cool,
Right.
Well, I think that's actually an interesting thing right there, too, because a good DM is going to take everybody's backstory and party, and everyone already has like this motive that they're doing, this goal that they're reaching for. But there's no reason why there can't be like a side road to something very personalized to this character and be like, hey, we've been adventuring for a long time. I have this thing that's been bugging me. We should probably go check this out. This actually might give me a little bit more about what's actually bugging my character alone.
Right.
I think there's a problem with our group not making backstories.
Yeah, that is a problem.
I've tried. Yeah, exactly. I've tried to make backstories for my characters, but of course it's like, well, if nobody else is making a backstory, it's really hard to be like, hey, I would like to do my thing.
I make that usually.
I think you should make backstories for yourself. Again, that fleshes out your character. That knows how you motivate yourself and how you actually should act as the character, because you had these like life experiences in your backstory that shapes who you are at this moment.
Like Kevin's running a thing right now, and I had to give my character kind of like this weird backstory because I based it around Jekyll and Hyde. And it's been really fun. I don't know. Kevin, do you think it's been an interesting character?
It has been.
I think it's a bit odd at times.
Yeah, because lore-wise, it doesn't make too much sense sometimes, but...
Because
fun. It's
in general, Jekyll and Hyde doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's okay. It's been really fun because it gives moments of just like change every once in a while. But he had to have this like backstory that's like just kind of weird, and he's very isolated. Yeah. The point of the character was he was kind of isolated. He has parents, but he doesn't care about his parents. It's not that his parents don't care about him. He just doesn't care. Oh. They probably don't care either, but like they probably care more than he does. And like he's only friends with like college professors. Like that's it. And it was like this dude's in high school, and he's just friends with college professors because he's supposed to be like this guy who's like really into like chemistry and stuff, and that's how he's done the things that he's done. And so obviously doesn't have this super fleshed out backstory, but I did base it around a book, and I realized nobody's read the book, which made it really hard to
I know the book
which is make the character, because I was like, man, I thought everybody knew the story, so it'd be way easier. But nobody knows the story, sadly.
Nobody knows the story of Jekyll and Hyde?
No,
well,
apparently I know the story.
They haven't read the book.
I haven't read the book, but
you
I know the story.
You know the story.
I know the story.
Yeah,
I do.
Of Jekyll and Hyde.
I know the story of Jekyll and Hyde.
Cartoons, man.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's been fun to do, and obviously not super fleshed out background. But I mean, it's probably more fleshed out than some other backgrounds, I think, in the group. So I'd say credit where credit's due.
Right.
I know Donovan did a campaign with his... What was your character? He was a city slicker.
Yeah,
I don't think he
that's-
originally had that planned, but we actually bullied him into being a city slicker because he wouldn't use an accent.
Yeah.
So everybody else is like out here cowboy, and Kevin's just like, I'm a regular guy.
I was not just a regular guy.
He was a regular guy.
No.
And he also had bad survival,
Oh my god!
so he
So
kept
that could be a
leaving
great
prickers.
story, though. I mean, like if everybody else is like
no,
if everybody else is like cattle hands and everything else, and you come in and you're just
From the
like
city and,
like,
like,
that makes a
I-
good story.
I
It's a good movie,
experienced-
isn't
We
it?
were supposed
Yeah.
to be
really
fun.
we were supposed to be Wild Wild West theme. That's what it was.
Oh my god, that's actually perfect. You have the best character. You have the star character at that moment. You are the star of the show.
No,
It would be a
and
good
we
premise for a
bullied him
story.
Yeah.
because, well, I don't. What was your character's original backstory?
No. His original backstory was that he was out here because he was trying to get funding for an illegal business.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
What? I said this.
I don't
in the
think you
camp.
did.
Yes, I did.
I didn't know that.
That's totally what happened. I think he just didn't.
You didn't care. You just want to make his own. You just made Kevin the way you wanted to make Kevin. That's all
We
you did.
did. We did make Kevin the way we wanted him to be because, because it was kind of funny because, as I said, all of us were giving our characters accents, and we were all very much committing to this like cowboy routine.
I'm bad
Kevin
with voices.
did not.
I don't like
Kevin
doing
did not
voices.
at all. He did regular voice, and so we're like city slicker. And then one time we were preparing cactus, which Kevin didn't know was a real thing. You can eat cactus.
Yep.
No, I know you could eat cactus.
Are you sure?
No, because my mom eats cactus even before it then.
Yeah. In fact,
Somebody
the
didn't
Mexican
know.
restaurant up here sells it.
But
Yeah.
that is besides the point. Kevin was
I didn't
supposed
like
to
it,
take the
by the
pricks off of the cactus, and he rolled bad survival, I believe. So he left
Yeah.
the prickers in, and from then on, everybody was like, Kevin's not allowed to cook because he's a city slicker, and city slickers clearly don't know how to prepare a cactus. So it just kind of came this thing where everybody was like, this city slicker ain't competent enough, you know? And my character, he didn't have a very fleshed out background either, so it's okay. He was just like, he was supposed to be, everybody changed his name to Lenny, because he was very
yes.
similar to Lenny from Of Mice and Men,
Uh-huh,
apparently.
yeah.
I've not read it, but apparently he was very similar.
Yes, you so have to read it.
But it was fun to play him because I kind of gave him, he was like, he also wouldn't go on, like, he wouldn't go high up on, like, wooden and stuff because he was worried about breaking them because he was heavy and had, like, heavy steps, so he didn't want to, like, fall through the floor.
Sure.
So, like, while everybody was, like, on the top level of the ship, like, fighting skeletons, I was like, hey, guys, I found a flower.
I found a flower.
I found a flower. It was pretty fun because it was actually kind of odd because I feel like every time we did combat, it was on like a second floor of a building that Lenny wouldn't go up. And so I don't know why Donovan kept doing that. I was like, oh, I mean, like I made it pretty clear my character didn't go up, like up on wooden floors, and then we just always did
he was
combat
just trying
upstairs.
to help your character grow.
He
And
was
you just never.
he was
grew.
afraid. He was scared. He was also illiterate.
Overcome your fears.
He also didn't really allow me a chance to use sneak attack as well.
I don't think any of us knew what sneak attack was at the time.
I guess
Donovan
that
had
makes
never
sense.
DM'd before.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like,
You
you
know,
tried to
it's-
use functions that Donovan didn't know how to use.
He's like, wait a minute, it's not a sword or a shield? You're doing trickery stuff?
Yeah.
That ain't how this works here. Fair fight. Fair
I think
fight.
he did give you coverage and stuff at the end, though.
Yes, at the end. At the end.
It was pretty short campaign.
Yeah.
But I remember my
It was still
character
good.
was also illiterate.
Right.
So it would be like we would see like wanted posters and I'd be like, what does this say? And then Kale would read them for me because Kale was supposed to be like my friend, like this long hood, like childhood friend.
Yes.
So we were always like chilling together and I'd always be like, hey, I need your help. And then Kale's character would be like, all right, I'll get that for you, you know? And then again, we were always just bullying Kevin's character because it was.
Were you the broad though? Because you.
If
what'd
we
you- what
weren't
do you-
fighting on a second floor.
Yes. So
I
you're the
broke
powerhouse.
So you're
stairs. And
supposed
see,
to
I
be.
broke
It felt
stairs one
pretty
time.
well.
I broke stairs one time going up them because he was too heavy, and everything's all wooden and stuff. I talked to Pickleman though. I convinced the Pickleman not to kill us and just give us what we wanted.
That's pretty cool.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
Yeah.
What's our
Have you-
time?
We are at 59 minutes.
Have you ever made a
think we
character
can-
based around like from like a story or whatever?
I believe I have. I just don't quite remember. I think I tried to create Nathan Drake, kinda.
Do you see? Oh, I remember that. Oh, that was the City Slicker one. Oh yeah. He was trying to be the
kinda.
guy from
Uncharted. Yeah.
That's what it was. Now I remember.
Yeah.
No, but like, do you personally think there's anything wrong with basing a character or even a story?
No,
around?
definitely not.
Okay.
I think that's perfectly fine.
I don't think that's like a controversy anything. I remember seeing something that was like players actually really enjoy playing through some of their favorite stories.
Okay, listen. Okay, but there's something.
I messed it up for my campaign.
Okay, there's something like it's different from basing off a character and then just trying to replicate that character.
Yeah.
Because there's people who like want to play Shrek like to the T, or like
I think I'd love that.
That would be kind of odd, but I think it would be fun.
or Sonic, or
I wanna play
stuff like that,
Donkey.
or anime guys. You know.
I do
Yeah.
get to marry a dragon. Oh, that's part of my story.
I think I enjoy basing, like, starting a character idea from something in media.
Sure.
So it's like, I saw this and I like that trope, you know?
Well, I mean, okay, on creating ideas for making characters, you can draw from like media and stuff, and I think that's a good way to do it. You could also draw from life as well, like
Yeah.
from your own personal life.
Do you think there's anything against, like, going with stereotypes? You know, so, like, you
Okay.
know, the stereotype of, like, your bard, tiefling, you know.
This is how they do stereotypes, like in actual media. That's good. Do a stereotype, but they put a twist on it. They make something very different about it that makes it interesting.
Okay.
You know, like as long as there's something different, and that makes it interesting, and there's a twist.
But do you
then
think,
you can't
like,
do
following a
stereotypes.
stereotype, not to the T, but, like, just generally following a stereotype, how do you feel about it?
I don't think that's a good character.
I think they're stereotypes for a reason.
Yes, there is, but
And I think sometimes doing stereotypes, especially when you're trying to do something, like, last minute.
I think you're talking more about archetypes than
I-
stereotypes. Because archetypes are like the wise old man character, that sort of thing.
That kind of is a stereotype.
No, I think a stereotype is a different word, right?
No, I think they're synonyms.
I don't.
Pretty sure they're synonyms.
Oh, hold on.
Kevin's gonna Google if they're
Yeah, I think
synonyms.
stereotype is like the wise old man, or
Yeah, and-
it's anything that happens to be like mostly true most of the time.
Yeah, you know, and like,
So
but you know, like your stereotype where it's like bards are always horny and stuff like that.
I've
Or,
never
you know-
heard that.
There's no way you've definitely.
I've never heard that actually.
Okay, the words are not synonymous. As a general rule, an archetype provides guidelines for characterization, while stereotype is a negative label used to describe bad writing or shallow thinking.
What?
Yeah.
I've never
What?
heard the
What is
word.
it?
What I thought.
I
that
have
was.
never
they-
heard
when did they turn it
stereotype
to, like, a
used that
negative?
way.
That's how
Stereotype
stereotype
is
is
used
used.
in a negative way at times,
What?
but
Yeah, not all the time though. That doesn't make sense. What
the
do you mean
way
by
that
definition?
generally it's used, I feel like it's used similar to the word archetype.
I mean, no. I mean, no.
Okay,
I don't
but
think so.
besides the point,
Yeah,
you know, you
besides-
also know,
besides that.
like,
Can we look
you're
up
like,
stereotype on an actual dictionary website? Because I never heard it negative. That's weird.
but you
that-
know,
that word in
like,
front of it.
the stereotype of
just stereotype in dictionary.
you're like warlocks
Yeah, the
being
definition.
evil, or even one of the funnier stereotypes, like your stereotype that rogues have dead parents.
yeah,
they're, like,
yeah.
emo.
And it's not negative.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Widely held but
Kevin.
fixed and oversimplified.
Yes,
image or idea
that
of
is
a
what is
Google an
overly
archetype
simplified, but not
definition.
negative, because the word negative actually puts it in a negative light. So
Do
you
the
can't use the word
archetype
negative.
definition.
Okay.
It actually changes the whole definition of it. So
Yeah.
Ugh.
But I don't know. What are some
Besides the point.
stereotypes that you think are bad? Like D&D wise.
Oh well, of course. I mean,
I don't think there's any stereotype that can be like
I
in
think
D&D
if
that's
you
bad or good,
overdo it-
because I mean basically you're trying to create this world where you're really trying to really get down to the essence of what this character is.
yeah. Honestly,
Yeah.
any kind
So
of
if you do it and the person's a bad character and you're like, this is how you explain him, well then there's a whole bunch of information that you got just from that stereotype.
yes, totally.
You know, so
if it's a modified, and also if you're just first playing, like archetypes are perfectly fine.
Oh,
and even
yes.
later on.
My first D&D
know?
character was definitely a stereotype.
So I like archetypes for characters first when you start playing because, like, really, you're the warrior, you're the
Yeah.
mage, you're
Totally.
you're this. You know, it gives you defined roles. And later when you're playing D&D, those
Yeah, you wanna
those
branch out.
archetypes, they don't exist as much because you could take your character and do whatever you want.
Totally.
I can tell you that your character's gonna be bad because if you don't specialize anything, you fail at everything.
Yeah.
Totally.
Wait, that sounds weird, but I get it at the same time.
Well, it's like if you go to a doctor that also has a whole bunch of hobbies.
Yeah.
You probably don't want to go to that doctor.
That's an interesting way to think about it, but that is very odd.
Yeah, because
You really want something that
specialization.
specializes. Yeah, you
Yeah,
really want
you
something
want
that extra. You can only
specialization.
know so much.
Yeah.
If you're filling that so much with everything else, you don't know that much.
I suppose, yeah.
Unless you're Elon Musk, and then somehow you just know it all, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
What do you think is your favorite, like archetype, stereotype, whatever, in D&D?
Well, I don't think I really have a favorite, honestly, because
What do you
again,
think you
I'm
use
not.
the most?
I try to be different every single time. So
Yeah?
like that one character I told you that
I
was
think Kevin does a lot of basic fighter characters.
Yeah.
So that one character I told you, he was noble, right? And he came from like noble blood. The next one I decided to create is I wanted to be the guy that will stand the line. So I decided to take a paladin, and
Sure.
playing him was way different. He didn't run ever. When the odds were against him, he had one goal, and that goal was to protect his party at the sake of his own life. So he would stand in front of the door and be like, "Get through here, I will hold." And he would just stand there. It was so great because his mindset was so
Yeah, totally.
like the other guy. I looked around and I'm all like, I don't know you guys. And this guy, he's all like, he only has one goal in life, and that is to protect the people that he is with.
Yeah, no,
And it was so great. And like playing that many different characters and like those different
Yeah.
avenues, that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
think
like
that's
I
why I've
don't-
been trying to diversify the
Yeah.
races and classes that I've been doing.
Oh.
I'm still really new to D&D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like Kevin's been playing longer than me. I don't know how long you've been playing, Kevin, but you've definitely been playing longer than me. I've played for probably
Yeah.
like a year and a half at this point. And that's crazy, I think, personally.
Do you have another character always in the makes? Like, because like when I'm playing, right?
Yeah.
With my DM, I know that my character can die.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of like dreading on the time that that's going to happen, I actually kind of look
Get excited
forward
for
to
your
it
next
and
one.
like think about what is my new character, what's my new backstory going to be, and if this character did die, how do I get this character in the current party?
I
Well-
think, like, personally, I don't. I actually have 2 characters right now, like, pre-made. And one of them is always made. He's for one-shots. I don't do one-shots very often, but he's for them because he has the most flaws and would be terrible to play in a regular campaign. He would be the worst. He'd be very dysfunctional. But that's why I like him for one-shots,
Sure.
because he is dysfunctional. So it makes it funny, makes it fun. But I currently have a character in the makes for the next campaign, but I suppose if I died, I would add him. Maybe.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd consider it.
Well,
Yeah,
here's
I think if I was about to die.
Yeah,
I'd
what are
make
you
a
saying,
character.
Kevin?
well, here's the thing. Like it sounds like that type of campaign is not something I personally like, because when I think of campaigns, I think of like story-wise, and I think story-wise for the main characters just to die in the middle or frequently, and
It depends on what they're doing.
like, what do you mean?
We're going to the death house.
You know, like if
There's
a
a reason why
character's
it's named that.
Yeah, and I don't like this sort of campaigns. Honestly, I don't think it's good story-wise, and that's why I play D&D. You know,
That's
because you need a character arc for like that's defined by their characters and like that story, and for them to just die in the middle of it is not satisfying. I don't.
Well, it's
think.
life though, isn't it?
Yeah, we all die in the middle.
I mean,
You gotta take life pretty serious. I mean, no one gets out alive,
well,
right?
This is fictitious, though. It's all fantasy, though.
I know. I just know Beetlejuice. There's a line like that. Yeah, continue.
Yeah, so I guess you
find it-
like the story, but the story can continue without the characters. The characters are not the most important part of your
I
story.
mean, remember?
I guess.
Remember
And,
when Arson
basically,
died?
When I say like you can die in the game, it's because you make bad decisions. Like
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also sometimes bad things just happen to you.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you go to places that you should not go.
I know Kevin doesn't remember, but in his
No, I do
campaign,
remember.
he does remember now. But I reminded him. One of his players, we called him Arson. he had this spell where he could like teleport or whatever, like very short distances. And
Yeah.
so he jumped off this falling bridge thinking he had another spell slot.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And he didn't have the spell slot, so he just fell to his death. It was actually really funny.
Actually, that's really awesome.
It
That's,
is. It was really awesome.
That's a
he
pretty
was like,
good.
"Hey guys, check this out," and he like jumped off the bridge.
Sure. Yeah.
But it was really funny because we actually
Yeah,
went
totally.
back to rob his body because he had a rotting leg that we wanted for a soup.
Oh my gosh, what is wrong with you guys?
We killed a
I-
dog guy who was like abusing dogs. Him and Arson and Dakota, I think, did that. Where there was a
And-
guy who was like abusing dogs.
But then,
and so
like-
they
I'm beginning
killed
to think,
him.
I'm beginning to think that his character remembered that he did have that spell slot. He's like, I see no other way.
Okay, here's
But
the
we
thing.
killed him. We killed him.
Here's the thing.
And we took his leg so we can make soup.
Here's the thing. I asked him whether or not, like, he wanted to go through with it, or if because it was like a player mistake. And I am very forgiving of that sort of thing.
He just died.
Yeah, but he wanted to die. He was fine with the idea.
And then he
'cause-
came back as Arson Jr. because apparently Arson had a son.
Yeah.
He didn't, but it's fine. He had a son. It was really funny because we basically and the guy the new Arson Jr.'s backstory was he was out to kill his own father. And so
then-
that's why he found the party because he was like, I'm here to kill my father. And then they're
he's-
like, well, he's already dead. And then he's
already
like,
dead.
well, I guess I'll join you guys then.
Yeah.
Well, that's that's a
pretty
weird
funny.
turn of events.
Totally.
It was-
Like,
It
oh,
was-
I guess you already did my work for me.
It was pretty funny
Yeah.
because basically it was like
see our ideas aligned.
just coming down the horizon is just somebody who looks exactly like Arson coming down the hill like, I'm here to kill my father. And it's like, who's your father? You know, as if we didn't know. And it's like, Arson. And then he's like, oh, we killed that guy.
That's one of the. That's the funny thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, as you're going through the campaign as a party, you trust nobody until one of your party members dies, and you're like, that guy that's randomly there on the street, you must be a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've killed everybody up to this point, but
Yeah,
you
as-
must be good.
As the party, you're like, excuse me, did you look at me wrong? And then, like, all of a sudden, some dude who, like, for some reason looks exactly like our old friend and sounds awfully familiar. You know what? Join our party. He
Join our
just
party.
died.
You're probably not a demon.
One time, in
Pretending
Kevin's
to
old
be our
campaign,
friend with a-
so Kale's characters are always kind of really annoying.
well, yeah, they're
and-
him. They're just
and
usually
so-
just him.
We were in this
That's not
town
nice.
one time.
Poor
and-
Kale.
And well,
Kale
we were
can't
in this
defend
town
himself.
one time, and Kale decided he didn't want to come in the tavern. That's fine. So he just sat outside the tavern, and I was DMing that day with Kevin. I think Kevin was doing something else,
Yeah,
but I was
like, go
DMing.
DMing.
And so I was like, the guards shouted, I'm like, hey, no loitering. There's a fee for that. And basically, he just continued to loiter. And so the guards arrested him. And one of the other characters, who also didn't go in the tavern, burst into the tavern while everybody else in the tavern is singing this song with our bard character.
Oh yeah, it was like an open.
He
mic.
It was an open mic. It was so fun. It was a great time for everybody who decided to go in the bar. But then
Yes.
another character, like in our party, burst through the door and they're like, "Kale got arrested. We gotta go save him." And everybody at the bar is intoxicated. Everybody at the bar is singing "Diggy Diggy Hole."
Diggy diggy hole.
And so then the party leaves.
Oh, yeah.
And then we all sneak and they break into this jail and they like murder a dude in the jail cell. They just like kill him for no reason.
It was someone new. to
No, it was an
D&D.
NPC. They just like killed an NPC.
Yes, no, but the player himself was new to the game.
He was new, but he did
And
just kill a random
He played
NPC.
it like Skyrim, essentially, like killing absolutely everybody. Or
That
like-
player died very quickly, and he had to
Yes.
make a new character.
Yes.
Oh,
Actions for your consequences. If you're gonna just continue to murder, town guard, then they will murder you. There is a lot more town guard, and the rest of the players were like, "Yeah, no."
Yeah.
All of us were like, "That's a lot of guards," and just basically made a run for it. We were like, "Oh, dude, we're here to protect you. You know, if like 2 or 3 more guards come by." Nah, this dude had like 11 guards coming after him.
Yeah.
So we like ran away.
Yeah.
They did, not me. I wasn't in the campaign. I was DMing, but that was pretty fun. It was very interesting. But I think it's important to make a character that is interesting and likable, and also make it where your DM doesn't want to strangle you.
Yeah.
Making an annoying character is not fun. Don't make an annoying character that just frustrates your DM.
Totally. So
I think making a murder hobo with consent.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make
Yeah.
a murder hobo, Kevin.
Then I'll just kill you. That's simple as that.
Gus is gonna be a murder hobo. Obviously, can't you tell?
Yeah.
From his backstory, murder hobo.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we'll end it here, right?
Sure. Do you want me to do the
sounds
outro?
No, you go ahead since I started.
Hell yeah. Everybody, thanks for watching today's episode of Gaggle and Nerds with our special guest Tommy today, the owner of the store. So if you enjoyed, watch the next episode.
Yeah, or the previous one.
Comment your favorite character, stereotype / archetype, and I hope everybody has a good day. Bye.
Yep. Later.
Bye.